When we think of miracles, we often imagine synagogues, mountainsides, or the Sea of Galilee. But Jesus didn't confine his ministry to religious or remote places. He moved among the people, right where they lived, worked, and gathered. And some of his most unexpected, powerful moments happened in marketplaces, the social and economic hubs of ancient Jewish towns. These weren't quiet or solemn places. They were noisy, bustling, full of trade, laughter, livestock, and sometimes corruption. And yet, Jesus chose these very public settings to display God's power and confront the brokenness of the world. One of the most striking events occurred when Jesus entered the temple courts in Jerusalem, which functioned partly as a religious marketplace. In Matthew 21:12-4, Jesus found merchants selling animals and money changers conducting business in the outer courts. In righteous anger, he overturned their tables and drove them out, declaring, "My house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers." But what many overlook is what happened immediately after. The very next verse tells us, "The blind and the lame came to him at the temple, and he healed them." Right there among overturned tables and scattered coins, Jesus performed healing miracles. A marketplace cleansed became a place of restoration. This is important. Jesus didn't just clean up the corruption. He created space for miracles where exploitation had been. It shows us how Jesus transforms not just hearts, but environments. He turns places of greed into places of grace. Another powerful moment takes place in Luke 13:10-17, where Jesus heals a woman who had been bent over for 18 years. While this technically occurs in a synagogue, it was during a Sabbath gathering similar to a marketplace crowd, and she likely would have come through a busy public area to reach him. Jesus stops everything, calls her forward, and says, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." He lays his hands on her, and immediately she straightens up and praises God. While not said in an open-air market, the public nature of this miracle and the community's reaction mirrors what often happened when Jesus moved through crowded, common spaces. We also see moments of divine teaching and challenge in these settings. In Mark 12:38, Jesus condemns the hypocrisy of religious leaders while in the temple courts, watching them flaunt their wealth and social standing. Then, in a stunning contrast, he points to a poor widow who drops 2 small coins into the offering box, a marketplace act of sacrifice. Jesus declares that her small gift was worth more than all the others, because she gave out of poverty. This wasn't a healing miracle, but it was a miracle of spiritual insight, showing that God sees what man overlooks. In John 2, we find Jesus at a wedding in Cana, which would have been bustling with economic and social exchanges, almost like a temporary marketplace. When the wine runs out, Jesus miraculously turns water into wine. While this takes place at a private event, it was a highly public miracle at a communal feast, demonstrating Jesus' ability to meet needs, not just of survival, but of joy, celebration, and honor. His miracles weren't always dramatic healings. They were often subtle but profound affirmations of God as presence in everyday life. We also can't ignore John 5:1-9, where Jesus heals a man at the pool of Bethesda. This location was crowded with sick people, more like a healing marketplace than a quiet clinic. Amid the chaos, Jesus singles out a man who had been paralyzed for 38 years and asks, "Do you want to get well?" With just a command, "Get up, pick up your mat, and walk," the man is healed. This happened in a public place where people came expecting miracles from stirred waters. Instead, they got a personal miracle from the Son of God. In Luke 17:11-19, Jesus enters a village, likely near a local market, and is approached by 10 lepers from a distance. They cry out, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." He tells them, "Go, show yourselves to the priests," and as they go, they are healed. These men were social outcasts, forced to remain outside marketplaces and city walls. Yet Jesus meets them right on the margins and gives them wholeness, reminding us that miracles can meet us even before we reach the temple or the town square. Another poignant example is in Mark 5, where a desperate woman pushes through a massive crowd, likely in a marketplace, setting just to touch Jesus' cloak. She had been bleeding for 12 years, and no doctor had helped her. Yet the moment she touched his garment, she was healed. Jesus stops, asks, "Who touched me?" and then publicly affirms her faith, saying, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace." This miracle didn't happen in silence or secrecy. It happened in a noisy crowd, surrounded by merchants, travelers, and spectators. And still, Jesus made it personal. Jesus' presence in marketplaces also brought miraculous insight. In Mark 11:15-17, when he overturned the tables in the temple courts, he wasn't just protesting commerce. He was revealing a spiritual truth. The blending of worship and profit had corrupted sacred space. In exposing this, Jesus didn't just clean a marketplace, he restored true worship, allowing room for the miraculous to move again. Even in Acts, we see Jesus' legacy continue through his followers in public places. The apostles performed miracles in the temple courts and markets of Jerusalem. Peter healed a beggar at the temple gate in Acts 3, and crowds gathered, astonished. These were echoes of Jesus' own ministry in marketplaces. Miracles not hidden in private rooms, but on display for all to see. So why did Jesus perform miracles in these public, often chaotic settings? Because that's where the people were. That's where the brokenness was most visible, and that's where transformation would have the most impact. Jesus wasn't afraid of noise, of scandal, or of crowded streets. He walked among the sellers, the beggars, the sick, and the sinful. And wherever he walked, miracles followed. In the marketplaces, Jesus showed that divine power wasn't reserved for sanctuaries or sacred relics. It was present in the everyday, among baskets of bread, clinking coins, and crying children. His miracles in these spaces weren't just about physical healing, they were declarations that God was near, that heaven had come to earth, and that even the most ordinary places could become holy ground.